Righty. Krista, you ready to go?
Yep. All
All
right.
righty. I think it's a couple minutes or a few minutes past the hour, so let's go ahead and get started. We have a bunch of folks already in on the webinar today, so welcome everyone again. My name is Mark Kapczynski. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Gooten, and as I was mentioning, this is our last webinar of this whole series. I can't believe we got through 10 of them every week for the last 10 weeks. Hopefully you found them valuable and useful. And again, if you missed anything or want to share with your peers and colleagues, they're all linked up on our website, and you can find them on YouTube and watch anything that you might have missed and so on. A couple other last logistics. If you have any questions, again, please post them into the chat window. We'll be monitoring that between myself and Zlata, who's online. We'll try to take those questions and see what we can ask Krista about as she's going through her presentation. And then, if something comes up in line, Zlata will answer as well. So with that, I'm going to sort of turn the reins over to you, Krista, here to introduce yourself and your role within Gooten, and then dive right into the presentation today. And hopefully you know our format. A lot of Q&A as we go along, so I'll try to keep it lively and interactive with you. But I'm excited about your presentation because I always learn something, and I know nothing about the design side of the world, so I'm eager to learn. And I know when I was building out even my own Gooten store recently, I had tons of different questions about graphics and what to do and resolutions and DPI and everything. So I'm excited to learn how I can make better products for myself and my store. So I'm excited to turn it over to you, Krista. So I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. So my name is Krista. I've been with Gooten for about 4 years now. So I'm one of the old hats now. We have a lot of new people here at Gooten as we're growing out the team, and it's really exciting to be here this year as we start expanding. My role here at Gooten started as a design director, managing our design team, and has now expanded to include our product team as well this year. So I'm really excited to start making a lot of changes in our product and kind of improving a lot of areas that you guys have been giving us feedback on, and you'll definitely start seeing a lot of great changes in the next year or so. So definitely look forward to that, and we can actually talk about a few of those before we get into the main subject of the webinar today, which is creating and designing products. So a few, if we get into a few updates that we've recently made this year on our orders page and in our product hub. The first one being, which I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, our new orders page UI. And we've definitely want to make a lot more changes here to help you manage your orders and get more visibility. This is a first step that we're taking. So it's a small step because we don't want to interrupt your holiday season by implementing too many changes. So that's why you might not see a whole lot of functionality changes yet. We've done a lot of work over the past year to update our branding and create a more consistent user experience across all of the different pages within our web app. And so you'll notice over time, we've kind of updated those and created them more consistent. And so the orders page is the recent one to kind of convert over to our new brand look. And with that, we've also implemented one new feature that has been highly requested, which is the adding the image editor into the orders images tab. And this is going to help you when you're editing your customizable products. And if you have any image issues, you can go and use the image editor so you don't have to create an image that's exactly the right specs. It was kind of arduous part of our process, and that you had to create all of your images exactly to the pixel requirements, and now you can utilize the image editor to make it a little bit faster and easier. So yeah, hopefully those of you who utilize the customization workflows have found this beneficial, and definitely look forward to more changes coming on the orders page in the next year. The next release that I wanted to mention is a little bit of a sneak peek. We've recently implemented the remove variant kind of functionality in your product hub. If you go into any of your products and you go into the product details page, at the bottom where you have all of your SKUs, you'll be able to remove variants. This comes in handy when you're wanting to get rid of old phone case models that don't really sell anymore, or if you're wanting to remove products that are out of stock during the holiday season. If you get that message from our team that something has gone out of stock, you can easily remove it, which will remove the product from your store and the Gooten product. And the sneak peek is coming up very soon. We're going to release the ad variant. So this is definitely one of the top feature requests that we've gotten the past few months. And hopefully you'll find it very useful, especially as we add new variants to products. We just released the new iPhone 12 phone case models. So on the flip side, if you want to start selling those and not have to recreate the entire product from scratch, or add those variants on your store backend and then sync them back to us, that process was a little bit annoying and difficult. So hopefully this will make it super easy. It'll just bring you right back to your SKU selection page, where you can add variants and add artwork to those variants, and update prices as needed, and publish them without affecting your store SEO too. I know that's definitely a concern when creating new products, is that you're ruining your SEO by creating a brand new page. And then lastly, one feature that we released this summer was a duplicate product. 30% of you guys have been utilizing this feature to create products, which is really exciting. It makes it a lot faster and easier, especially if you offer the same product with different artwork, but you utilize the same, similar product description, similar pricing, and the same SKU variants. So this definitely speeds that up. You don't have to go and select all of the variants and remember which ones you've selected before. You can just duplicate the product, change the name, swap out your images, and you're done. So hopefully you guys have found those useful. And of course, if you have any feedback for us, we're always open to hearing that. Yeah, and then just a little peek into what's coming up next year. We're going to be, as I mentioned, doing a lot more work in your orders page, giving you better info into where your orders are, how long they'll take, when it's expected to arrive, and things like that, to help you manage your orders a lot better and faster when you have customer questions. Next up is new integrations. We're looking to integrate with BigCommerce, which is really exciting. A few of you may be using BigCommerce or thinking about it, so it'll make it a lot easier to switch once we have that integration. And next year, we're really focusing on integrations as a whole. So even our current integrations will have a lot more focus and dedication to making that experience and connecting products and things like that a lot better. And then lastly, as I mentioned, we respond a lot from your feedback. So user experience broadly across all of our features and functionality is definitely going to be a focus next year. And I'm sure that we'll be speaking with some of you for user testing and getting your feedback on prototypes as we go into next year. So if you're interested in that, definitely let Flada know in the chat and she can add you to a email list. So with that, we'll get into our main topic, which is product design, strategy, and trends. So we've collected a lot of data for this topic amongst all of our Gooten users. And so the information that I'm going to be sharing with you is kind of taken from the collective Gooten user set. So it'll give you some insight on what your peers are selling and how they're setting up their stores and products and designing products just generally. So getting into it, first I'll talk about our top products and keywords that we've seen, and then we'll get into a couple strategies. So first up, we have our top trending products. So top products sold and top products created is two different things. So we're looking at products that are created in the hub and then products that are sold through the orders page. And this year, we've definitely seen a large uptick in home decor products, as many of us are staying home during the pandemic, and a lot of you guys are capitalizing on that increased market share for home decor products. We've seen an uptick in things like wall art and blankets, and definitely apparel has gone down a little bit, which is surprising. The usual suspects like t-shirts and hoodies are still quite popular, but other apparel items that were in the top have gotten bumped down for things like, throw pillows and a lot of baby products as well. That demographic has definitely expanded a lot, which is great. And we just introduced the new knotted gown product this year, and it's already one of our top products sold, which is definitely interesting. And you'll see some differences between products created that are not in the top products sold, and that could be due to just the type of partners and the concentration of products that they have. But it's always interesting to look at differences and see, a lot of people are creating metal ornaments, but not as many are selling. And same as folded cards, that's one of our top products created, but isn't one of our top products sold. Definitely, so some definitely interesting info there that hopefully you'll find useful. And then if we get into some of the data that we've seen from your product designs and products that you're publishing into your store, we've collected a few, collected the keywords and kind of looked at some trends across all of them over the last 60 days. And so this is kind of an obvious one going into holidays. A lot of people are creating holiday inspired accessories, home decor, and apparel. And so that's definitely our number one keyword that people are using when they're publishing to their stores, as well as two other categories that we're seeing really explode is the pop culture, celebrity inspired product range, as well as pet gifts. And I'm by no means an expert in copyright or trademark laws, but so do your due diligence when creating products that are celebrity inspired. I've definitely heard, especially if you're selling on Etsy, you have to be kind of careful with those kind of things with how you name your products and what artwork that you're utilizing. The example I have here of Britney Spears is a Creative Commons licensed photograph, so you could totally utilize that, but even things like, quotes from shows, and if you're using the name of the show in your product name, could get flagged for trademark infringement. So it's definitely a fine line there, especially if you're selling on Etsy. But we've definitely seen an explosion of lots of, TV inspired designs, like Schitt's Creek is a big one, The Office is a big one. But, do your due diligence definitely before publishing, because you definitely don't want to be getting flagged by Etsy, or even worse, taken down during holiday seasons. All right, and now we'll get into a couple different strategies that you guys can leverage to increase your margins. Some things that some of our partners do today and we've seen be really successful. So hopefully sharing this will kind of inspire you going into the holidays and into next year as you continue to grow your business. So one thing that I've seen be really helpful for partners is creating limited run designs. The way that I think is best to structure this while utilizing print-on-demand products is to just pick a time limit and showcase that time limit to your partners or to your users on your store. And so you can put a little widget on your homepage and say, these daily deals end, and have it count down, or just to make it more static and easy to implement, you can just say it ends at midnight on whatever date, and kind of showcase 3 of your top designs. They could be bestsellers, they could be something that you're looking to test out, and then after if it's gone, it's gone. I'm putting sell out in quotations because we don't actually sell out. And it's also kind of, I've seen other people utilize inventory so that they can count down the kind of like showcase how many left. It's definitely a little bit more tricky to implement and a little bit more of a pain. So I would definitely recommend, if you want to test something like this out, just kind of do it artificially on your homepage, start selling some unique designs and then take them down. So it's a little bit of a workaround for print on demand. And then, sorry for my crazy GIF right now. Personalization is definitely exploding this year. The market for personalized gifts is expected to grow to 31 billion next year. And so this is definitely something that you can capitalize on and utilize Gooten to be able to offer these products a little bit easier. One way that we've implemented this and made it easy for you guys is to hold your items for customization. So if you go into your settings, go to your fulfillment tab, you'll see that there is a little card there where you can enable holding your products for customization. And if you're not utilizing that right now, what that means is that when you get an order into your store and it comes into Gooten, it'll be held until you upload your artwork with that personalization that you're doing. So if you're, putting somebody's name on a blanket, or you're creating a whole unique design for that person, it'll stay until you upload your design, and you can change your status to ready for print, and it'll go into production right away. So it's something a lot more of our partners are utilizing, and the features around customization we're planning on implementing more and more into next year as well to help you guys. And why would you offer personalization? Well, selling to your same demographic, you can increase your margins. 20% of people are willing to pay, actually 1 in 5, actually that is still 20%. 20% are willing to pay for 20% premium on products that are personalized. And it increases your customer satisfaction. Somebody who gets a product unique to them definitely encourages them to write that review, which will help your store conversions in general. And it just also sets expectations of timing as well. So it's kind of an added benefit. Like, most people don't expect that their personalized product is going to arrive the next day. It's going to take a little bit of time. So some of that helps with, where's my order kind of questions too, because it's being personalized. So you can kind of manage expectations a little bit better. And as I mentioned, you can utilize Gooten tools to make that easier for you and automate the process so you don't have to manually place those orders. If you're looking to just test out a few products with personalization, you can definitely, set it up so you can manually order the products initially. And then if it's something that you think will be core to your business going forward, you can utilize that settings feature that we have to set your products to be on hold until you update your artwork. All right, so next up, I wanted to mention a few best practices with our product editor, some things around print on demand and limitations of print on demand compared to printing your products in bulk, and then some top questions that we've got from past webinars that are related to this topic. So hopefully you'll get some much needed information that we may not have done a great job of sharing with you guys. So getting into it. The top question that we get on our product editor is, why do I have to create a design for each SKU or create them exactly to the print specs? Why can't I just create one design that works on a lot of products? Now, you definitely can do that. One tip that I would suggest is that you take your largest print area for that product, create your one design for that, that SKU, and then it'll automatically scale down for all of your other SKUs. So that way it will make it easy to...
Krista, I needed that tip before I built my store.
Yeah,
I started with the smallest and got the issue going in reverse. So that's a great tip. I'm personally remembering that one.
Yeah, it's definitely not obvious because our largest SKUs are at the bottom of the list. So when I talk about user experience updates next year, our product editor is going to be a big focus in helping you guys kind of create products faster. I think our average time to create a product is way too long, and you guys are spending a lot of time utilizing the tool, and hopefully we can speed that up for you guys. But yeah, just generally create a large design and it'll automatically scale down for your other SKUs. So you don't have to create individual ones. You might want to, if you're designing phone cases with unique shapes kind of cut out for, the camera and kind of power buttons and things like that, you might want to design specifically for those items. But for the most part, if you're designing something like a canvas or a t-shirt or anything like that, pick your largest SKU when you're designing Photoshop and kind of go from there. It'll make it a lot easier. And even across different products, as long as your pixel requirements are larger than what's required, it will definitely work or to the spec. And some products, like if you'll notice on our product catalog pages, we have all of the print specs. Some of them only require 150 DPI, but I always just generally, if you can and you're not utilizing photography or artwork that you're not creating from scratch, try to save to 300 DPI. That definitely helps with print quality in general, and make sure that you don't have any blurry or fuzzy images. So yeah, so then the next tip I would mention is to utilize our design templates. This is going to help you, once you get into the editor, your product design is all set up and works according to the bleed, safe zone, trim requirements. You'll notice on the templates, we have them nicely labeled for you of how to position your artwork, where to keep your important elements like text and faces and things like that, so it doesn't get cut off. And then always ensure that your artwork is filling the entire print area, which is the next kind of pitfall for some of our partners who are either just starting out with Gooten or kind of it's hard to see sometimes of like, okay, the area that you're printing has a little bit of white space on the outside. And especially if you're printing something that requires a bleed area. So when I say bleed, I know a lot of you already know this, but for those of you who don't, it's the area that usually gets cut off during printing. So if you're printing a throw pillow, it's that part that gets sewn in, or a tote bag or accessory pouch, things that are generally cut and sewn during the manufacturing process. And so that bleed area really makes sure that your design is going to be printed edge to edge and there's no white area showing on the edges. One thing that our customer service team does is flag any of these image issues like transparent areas in the bleed, and to make sure that they don't go into production without being updated. So a few of you might have experienced getting an email about, hey, you might want to update your artwork because there's a little bit of transparent area along the outside. So that's just a tip to make sure that you don't get your artwork held before production, is to make sure that it's filling the entire area, print area. And you definitely don't, if your design is like a PNG and you only want it to be in the center of a canvas, for instance, instead of wrapping around the sides, you can definitely design it according to how you're wanting it to print, with like transparent area around it. But if you're wanting your entire photograph to wrap around and make sure that there's no white transparent areas, definitely expand it to fill that entire print area. And I always like to view on our product editor, instead of looking at the product view, which kind of masks out that bleed area, look at it on the print area tab up at the top, just to do a double check, and then kind of like go through all of your SKUs, especially if you're creating it for the first time, just to make sure that it's all kind of filling that area. All right. So then we'll get into some print-on-demand limitations. And a big question that we always get is, how can I optimize color and make sure that it's accurate for printing? I definitely would encourage you to print samples as much as possible to kind of test how your artwork is going to print before selling it to your customers. That's just a best practice. Sometimes it's not always practical. So some best practices for setting up your artwork is to design your product in CMYK. If you're using Photoshop, this will definitely be super easy. You just switch to CMYK color space, and then once you save it out, especially if you're utilizing PNG, it will save to sRGB automatically, but if you're saving as a JPEG, just save it as RGB. And the reason for that is that RGB has color ranges that are outside of what's normal for a printer to print. So like neons you can see on screen, but don't really translate to a printer which has cyan, magenta, yellow, and black inks. So that's usually a good way of kind of making sure that the colors that you're utilizing in your design are going to print as expected. With print on demand, you will have some color shifts, especially from product to product. Different products look, feel differently. They have different sheen or different ink saturation on fabrics and things like that. So most of the time, you won't have exact color matches like you would even if you were printing in bulk, where they do more color kind of QA and matching. Your design is being printed next to another person's design. So they have a standard color profile that they'll apply to all of the products that are going through production. So there definitely will be some shifting, and most of the time the shift will be to be a little bit more muter than your design as it shows on screen. So that's why I encourage people not to use neon colors, gradients, or like blur effects, especially if you're printing on a dark t-shirt. There will be an underbase printed so that your artwork kind of pops off the t-shirt, but it also kind of looks a little strange when you have, like, you know, maybe a drop shadow and things like that. And different fabrics can have different results. So a cotton t-shirt will print a little bit brighter than a tri-blend t-shirt, just due to the kind of weave. Like a tri-blend t-shirt has a looser weave, so that the ink saturates a little bit more onto those fabrics, as opposed to 100% cotton, which is a tighter weave, and kind of holds up the ink a little bit better. And again, you know, the best way to test this is to print a sample, and a more scientific way, if you really want to get into it, is to create a kind of color swatch of all the colors that you want to utilize, and, you know, maybe try a few different blues or a few different reds and kind of see which one looks best to you on that specific product, to kind of then edit your design after. But for the most part, our products get close, but might not be exact. And just a note, I know that Nadia might have mentioned our quality checks that we do for products in general. This is taken from, these are pictures taken from our New York office of products that we've tested and kind of looked at for approval. Like, we definitely look at, do the pajama pants, are they see-through? Do dogs like our dog beds and things like that? And are the zippers closing and opening okay on throw pillows? Or like, where is the print area on a t-shirt? And to kind of make sure that, you know, it looks pretty close to what we're showing in our mock-ups. And another thing that we like to do is send products to some partners for stakeholder approval and kind of get their opinion. Would you sell this? Especially if they're selling it already. You know, a partner selling socks throughout some other fulfillment provider will have a good opinion on if those socks are good or not, compared to us, where we're not personally selling those socks to customers. And we always listen to your feedback about product quality, print quality, and things like that. So we've definitely removed some products from our catalog or switched them to different vendors based on your feedback, just due to quality complaints, or, you know, maybe like previously our socks were a little bit shapeless. And so we definitely have moved to a different sock vendor to have a better underlying product for you guys. Yeah, and then lastly, I'll get into some of the top questions that you guys have asked on past webinars, and hopefully this will be helpful to the general audience. The first question is, I've been having issues with images printing too dark when they look perfect on my end. My prints are coming out extremely dark even though they look great on my screen. So one tip, and this is a little bit of a pro tip, so if you're using Photoshop, you can go into your color settings, and if you select custom CMYK, you can reduce the total ink limit to 250. Now, what this will do is just reduce the saturation of your colors just slightly. You won't even know a difference on the screen. You won't see any kind of major color shifting. It'll just take out where, like, you might have a lot of overlap of your different color channels. So like in this photo, there might be, you know, blue, magenta, yellow, and black all making up that color. And so that ink is passing over that one area of that photo multiple times and can result in a really darker looking image. This is something that I've utilized, I used to be in publishing, so certain papers don't take as much ink very well. So it's definitely helpful if you just want to reduce saturation of your inks a little bit and make your images be a little bit lighter for printers so they're not going over that one spot over and over again. Another tip that is maybe a little less technical, just brightening up based on, your samples, brighten up certain areas of the image, or artificially kind of increasing the overall brightness or reducing saturation in some areas will definitely help. And of course, if it could just be due to the type of product. So one product might print a little bit darker than another. So you could try, different t-shirts, for instance, if you're printing a t-shirt. If you're printing canvas, there's definitely less options, but that's just some general tips to help with that specific issue. Next is, and I spoke about this a little bit. Yeah,
just one quick thing, because I just saw it come in. It seemed like that last question was also about photo prints. Is your comment sort of the same for photo prints as well as like canvas and so on?
Yeah. The tips are specifically to photography. If you're printing something more graphical, it's a little bit easier to control. But a photograph of, maybe a night sky, or a portrait that has a lot of shadow or something like that, can definitely have some really saturated areas, especially if it's called like a rich black, where it's not just black ink, it's also the cyan and magenta and yellow to make it like really deep, but it also results in a lot of ink going into that one area, which can make it look darker than it would on screen. So yeah. All right. Okay, so we talked a little bit about color, but this one specifically, how do you assure color accuracy over time? Meaning, how can an artist be sure a painting will come out exactly the same on every order? This is a tricky one and is kind of a limitation of print on demand, where you're not printing something in bulk. Our manufacturers don't color match every single order. We don't want to add to production time and things like that. So I think the best thing to do will be to take the tips I mentioned before, print a sample, especially for individual products like a canvas, and I'm assuming they would be printing something like a painting on a canvas. Kind of see if you need to do any color shifting, or if certain colors in your design, like if you're using a lot of neons or bright blues that have a little bit of kind of trouble printing, to just test to see how it comes out. And there will definitely be a little bit of variance. So if color is super important for you, and you want it to be accurate every time, maybe print on demand isn't the best for those types of products. Just being honest, color accuracy isn't something that is the best with print on demand in general. All right, and then next question, and this is the final question, and then we'll open it up to Mark and Zlata if there are any others from you guys. I was wondering if I can talk about personalization features that could be available to shoppers so they can use their own photos with my products and be able to edit text. We don't specifically offer this feature yet, but there are a number of apps out there, especially on Shopify, that will enable you to offer customization to your customers with a kind of a widget. And so one that we've talked to multiple times, they're a really great company, is called Customly. Customly? I always get that name wrong. And another one is called Zakiki. And those are really fun names. Those are two really great products that you can continue to sell Gooten products, but then have a customizable widget on your store front end. So, they can type their own name out, or they can upload a photo or things like that and edit the product right on your site. They're definitely really cool, and I've used them myself a couple times just to test it out. So would encourage you to look into that if that's something you're interested in doing. If you don't want to, pay for another product and you still want to offer that service, there's definitely ways that you can develop that feature yourself, or just do something as simple as enabling a new field for customization and then utilizing Gooten to order those products. You'll still have to kind of customize the product on your own through Photoshop and things like that, but would definitely be a good way of kind of putting your toe in the water with product customization. And that's it.
Hey, Krista, a question that just came in on that one was, is how does that spell? Is that custom ILY? Is that
Yes.
custom illy? Custom illy. So, and then what was the other one that you mentioned?
It's called Zakeke, Zakeke.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and
So
they're
hopefully,
both Shopify apps.
got it. And so I'll let you finish up, or I know there's a few questions that have come in that we want to kind of touch on. So when you're ready.
Yeah, ready for it. That was the last one.
Okay, great. So let's see. There was a question that came in about enabling patterns from small files.
Like, would we enable that feature, or they're looking how to do that?
I guess, are we, do we support it, and two, how would we do it? Is probably the best way to answer that.
Yeah. So we don't have any plans to support kind of like a pattern creator yet. If a lot of you are interested in that, definitely would be interested in hearing. I think the probably best way of doing that is to utilize Photoshop and just repeat your design and then upload it into the system today. But that's really interesting. I've actually haven't heard that request yet. We get a lot of wanting to have a text editor in the product editor, or even multiple layers, which could definitely help with artificially creating a pattern. It might be difficult to kind of line up your design perfectly. But yeah.
Cool. All right. Then the next question was, maybe it's related, but can you offer mirror wrap and/or color selection on canvas wraps?
Yeah. So a lot of these kind of feature requests for product editor, we're going to be looking into next year to speed up your design process. The background color, and what was the other one that was mentioned?
So is mirror wrap or color selection?
Yeah, and mirror wrap have been requested a lot. So no promises, but yeah, how we kind of prioritize these kind of things is just to speak generally about our process, is to kind of look and see, which ones are being requested the most. So I personally have heard the background and will be utilized for multiple products as well as kind of a qualifier. So I've heard the background one a lot, so it's definitely something we'll consider. And the mirror wrap would definitely make it easier, especially if you're using photography and don't want to have your design kind of crop out on the edges. So I'll definitely take that feedback to the team and keep an eye out, especially at the beginning of next year, for product editor updates.
Got it. Hey, just as a side, just because Zlata and I were actually talking about this, so now we'll sneak our feature request in. Zlata and I were talking about for like acrylics and things. Can you do like a center cutout, like to have like to be able to do a transparent, so to almost like create a transparent box inside of to almost like frame something out? Right, so you
Not
can
sure.
almost create like just the design around the edges and the middle be transparent, or
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you can like basically mask out your design in Photoshop so that kind of like middle area doesn't have anything printed in it. Is that kind of what you mean?
like sort of. Yeah, we were trying to come up with an idea where you could have an acrylic that you could actually see through the acrylic. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, acrylic is surprisingly not a very popular product, but having seen it, it's really cool how
yeah.
it looks and you know, would definitely be a fun product to design for, um, especially with like all the home decor kind of things happening. And then acrylics kind of give that 80s vibe, which is super popular in home decor now, if anybody's into looking at
You're just
TV
now
series
making me
with
feel
it.
old.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we got a few more questions since we have a few more minutes here with you, Krista. So, some kind of general question around when are you going to do a better job with mock-ups?
Yeah, yeah. That one, uh, I want to hire 1,000 mock-up designers so we can start going on that. We've definitely done some improvements over the last few years. We've implemented what we call per previews, which if you've utilized Gooten for a long time, you probably remember our mug mock-ups being like a flat trough kind of looking thing as opposed to the 3D version that it is today. We're looking into partnering with different companies to kind of help elevate our mock-ups. But we know we've definitely heard from you guys that this is a big pain point. So we're going to look into some ways that we can speed up that process of creating more mock-ups. And the team, we have 2 designers who work on mock-ups right now. They solely respond to your feedback about, hey, like this mock-up looks weird, or how can we make this mock-up better, or really would want to see, you know, leggings on a person instead of just a flat product. And so we're slowly getting to those, but keep an eye out and definitely share your feedback about specific products because we kind of, you know, go at it one at a time as of right now.
All right, let's see. I guess someone sort of asked a little bit of a question around like what I was asking about, but do you have plans to add a mask option to the product selection? Oh, I guess, oh, sorry. That's just actually masks. Sorry. I thought they meant like in the design process.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we're avoiding masks in general.
Yeah, we did
That was not
offer,
successful for us, right?
yeah, we did offer face masks for a short amount of time. I think just due to the crazy influx of orders and our manufacturers not being not used to selling that product before, it didn't really, well, it did well in that a lot of people integrated them and sold them, but the fulfillment of those products was not successful. And so unfortunately we had to remove those products from our catalog because we just didn't want to, you know, have your customers have a really bad experience of, you know, receiving a face mask that was wrong because our vendor couldn't keep up with all of the orders going on. But going forward, hopefully, hopefully this product will, uh, you know, definitely looking into similar products and things like that. But we want to make sure that our manufacturers are able to sell them effectively. And so we don't, I think the learning for us there was we're not going to go live with a product that our manufacturers are also going live with at the same time. We want to make sure that it's like a tried and tested workflow situation for our manufacturers so you guys get your products delivered with high quality and during the time that you're expecting it to get to your door or your customer's door.
Cool. So just a couple reminders for folks on the line. All the sessions have been recorded. I know there was a couple questions about the recordings. So Zlata will send out an email after the session that everything's been recorded, where to find the link. So I know there were some questions about wanting to preview some of the slides again. Maybe Krista, just while we're kind of wrapping up with one or two more questions, one of the questions was, could you put the slide back up on the top selling products that you had?
Yeah.
So just maybe while we're finishing up, that was one quick request. I know there's been some other questions about new products. So definitely, if we don't have a particular product, send it over to us. You can always send it into just marketing@gooten.com. We'll get it filtered over to the right way. The thing that we're looking for is for folks on the line, as we're looking to bring on new products, is really understanding, the market opportunity around those. So if you also have some forecasting data, like, hey, I think I'd be selling whatever, 100 of those a month or 1,000 of those a month, that helps us understand the market opportunity around different products that you might like to have us offer. And if we get, sort of the right levels of interest from a few different of our merchant partners, then, we can start to source some additional products. So definitely let us know the products that you're interested in, and, what you kind of anticipate in terms of monthly volumes. That will definitely help us. There was also a couple questions around just our shipping and so on. I would encourage you to look at, we did a great webinar with actually our CEO, Brian, and Nate on shipping and kind of how we do shipping and how our options get shipped out in different places, whether it's US or international. So I know there's some questions on that. So I'd steer you towards that. And if we didn't address that appropriately in the webinar, you can always email partner support and ask a more specific question about your specific products and accounts and so on. And so let's see, I think we have sort of like one last question, time for one last question for you, Krista, if you don't mind. I think a lot of people are just kind of asking in general about like gift messages and other maybe shipping options, boxing options. I think that's always been, can I customize the invoice or the shipping, items and or shipping packing slip and so on. Can you maybe touch on some of those elements as well?
Yeah. We've actually been talking with a lot of our manufacturers this year on what type of branding features they offer, gift messaging, inserts, and things like that. So the way kind of our Gooten works in general is that we have a global vendor network. And so your product, your t-shirt product, if your partner lives in Minnesota, we try to source that. I keep saying partner, I mean customer. We try to source that product as close to your end customer as possible. So it's a little bit of a tricky process to make sure that we have redundancy of product features across all of our vendors. So I think the way that we'll start to be able to do this is by certain product types. So, we might not have gift messaging for all 120 of our products that we offer, but we're going to try to target, like we look at data like what's showing on the screen here of, what are our top products generally, and how can we offer the best experience, especially for those products. So with something like branding and gift messaging, we're looking to solidify that feature with our manufacturers first, and then begin to roll it out to you guys. So we definitely have heard gift messaging as a really big feature ask for you guys, and is something that a lot of your end customers expect, especially on Etsy, where kind of gift notes and things are kind of a standard part of the checkout process and things like that. So we definitely hear you guys, and we want to make sure that we can offer a consistent experience for you within a given product. So that's why it's been taking a little bit of time to make sure that all of our manufacturers can and do offer this feature, and building it into their workflow if they don't. So we've hired a lot of people on the manufacturing team this year to interface with our manufacturers and kind of implement some of those new processes for them. So it's definitely a big focus for us, and we understand the opportunity for things like branding and all of that. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for announcements related to that next year.
Thanks, Krista, for that. Can you, Krista, can you put up the last slide just so people have the final URL to all of our content and so on? And it doesn't have the link on there. If you go to Gooten.com, you can find the webinar link and where all the recorded links to the previous webinars are. And I know Zlata will send that out as well. If you have any questions following up from this, you can email us on the marketing team at marketing@Gooten.com, or if you have a specific account related item, you can email partner support as well, or open a ticket through our help desk at help.gooten.com. Krista, I just got one final question for you, which is what do you think the cool design trend will be for next year? Anything that you've seen on the horizon that folks should be on the lookout for, either style-wise, color-wise, design-wise? What do you think is going to be hot into next year from your vantage point?
Yeah, well, I did mention the 80s are coming back. So contemporary style I've definitely seen a lot of, especially kind of designs influencing the home space. So that's definitely cool. Also, just generally, of the minute designs, we see do really well. Like, I think you tweeted recently about the Four Seasons landscaping, total landscaping, coming out with merchandise. And they also jokingly said, like, hey guys, stop stealing, or my merchandise is being sold on Amazon. So definitely keep an eye on current events. I know that's not part of everybody's kind of brand image, but you can always spin something, even if your style is super of the other side. It's always fun to do things like the limited run designs and kind of do something more of the minute.
I feel like there's going to be more like design collaborations, I think in general, like that feels like a trend. So more people kind of almost like, like what's happening in the food scene where, you're, combining two different food styles. I mean, I think it'll be kind of cool to see how our designers and our merchants, combine different styles together, maybe team up in different ways to, integrate two different styles together. So I think that'll be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of you guys are small businesses and kind of taking inspiration from the larger brands who do a lot of those collaborations regularly, and kind of taking tips and nods to their kind of strategy and style is definitely something to look into next year.
Cool. Well, Krista, thank you so much for joining us today and putting a great deck together. And I know hopefully folks, take away that, we do actually listen to our merchants, and we do take their feedback seriously. And hopefully, they're seeing that some of that's manifesting itself already into some of the new features you've already rolled out, and your roadmap for into next year as well. And I would certainly encourage folks to keep sending the feedback. We're aggregating it all together. I mean, we have thousands of merchants, so just kind of also take it with a grain of salt that, we roll up all the feature requests across all of our merchants and try to figure out the best things that, the business should do to support everyone. And so if you have any other questions, feel free to shoot them over to us. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up the webinar today. We'll thank Krista yet again. We'll thank folks for tuning in. And again, if you need the sessions, they're online, posted on Gooten.com afterwards, so you can share those out. Thanks for a great webinar series to Zlata, who's out there, for helping me get through 10 webinars over the last 10 weeks. And again, for everyone out there, thanks for your business. Good luck in the rest of the holiday season, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Krista. Thanks, Lotta. See ya. Thanks, everyone. Bye.